Well, hello everyone. I am Marian, and welcome to this week's Obsession. This is a podcast where I talk about things outside law school that are fun and new in order to stay sane with the readings we need to do. I started this podcast because it's my second year of law school, or it's going to be. This is the summer before that. And I've already seeing some of the readings or like the syllabi for our subjects. And my God, can I say, I think this is going to be a really hard sem. 300 pages worth of reviewers for just this one subject. I'm not going to say which, but if you are from the same school, you probably already know. So yeah, good luck to us. So the topics for this podcast would include board games, songs, poems, movies, sports, and overall life topics or hobbies that I would like to share as someone in her 20s also learning the law, cuff, in the grand manner. For this episode, I'd like to talk about my obsession with black coffee, I guess. I literally have one in front of me and I'm holding it right now. And let's just say I'm a sweet tooth, and for the longest time, I could never have imagined myself drinking my coffee black until I met someone life-changing a few years ago, 5 years ago. That would be my friend, who was also my partner. I guess he would be listening to this. And yeah, like recently, right, like we had a pretty nice goodbye and a lot of personal things that I don't think I could share right now, but maybe in the future. But let's just say meeting this very special person has changed a lot of my taste and stuff. So black coffee is one of them. And in this country where most people have a sweet tooth, I guess it's really hard to find restaurants with good black coffee, or maybe I'm just picky like that. But yeah, mostly people do order stuff like with milk or whatever you order with black. They would always ask, "Oh, do you want to add some sugar with that?" And they're gonna say, "Oh, it's like better with sugar or milk or whatever." But yeah, I also actually find myself liking black coffee because, well, firstly, it's the cheapest option usually in restaurants. Or cafes. Secondly, you can really taste the beans. Like, your taste becomes more sensitive. And like, thirdly, it would be health-wise. So first, like, cost-wise, your sensitivity to taste changes, as well as your health too. Because honestly, like, if you keep drinking a latte with 50% sugar every day for your studies, that's probably not going to be good for your health. And as someone who is like getting older by the day, you obviously sort of need to take care of your health because that's going to pay back at the end. So yeah, that's why I have this love-hate relationship with coffee, because taste-wise, black coffee is like highly dependent on the bean. There's some that's too sour, there's some that's too bitter, and I like it when a coffee is just mild or like has a subtle taste that's not overwhelming. In fact, I could start seeing like small differences in flavor, such as, oh, it's chocolatey, or oh, it's very burnt tasting, or it tastes like wood. Yeah, one time I drank this coffee, first thing I noticed was, oh my God, this tastes like charcoal. And the person I was with said that it's most likely because they over roasted it, which is a unique flavor if you're into that. But for me personally, I don't. I would prefer my coffee light roast. So yeah, that's why I like black coffee because you get to taste the subtle differences. To end this episode, because it's going to be just a quick one, I guess I'd like to recommend some of my most favorite cafes where I live or close to where I live. One of the first few, because this is inherently related to the topic of black coffee, considering there are a lot of cafes nowadays in urbanized cities, especially. Like every corner you got a coffee place, whatever, and they're quite expensive if you use coffee for productivity and you get dependent on it. Like, that's a lot of money per month, so you might as well get from the best, right? Or find places where you could save on your coffee expenses. And one of that, as a student from the Grand Manor, all right, I'll just say it, as a student in UP Diliman, I really like going to A2. Like, no matter how long the walk is, it's not really that long. I usually go to Laya Cafe. They're my goat, I swear. Like, they have this coffee of the, was it coffee of the week or coffee of the month? I forgot. And they tend to have like very fruity Americano or beans that they use. And the reason why I also like that place actually is that their sub-soy is it's just cheap. It's just 10 pesos in contrast to paying 50 pesos to change your milk flavor, which is discrimination against lactose intolerant people, by the way. Cuff Starbucks. So I would recommend Laya Coffee for if you want to taste some special tasting beans and also the support of local beans. I also love Toma Coffee. I don't know, it may be the price and like the sheer quantity of one 20-ounce cup that wakes me up. One of my favorite drinks there is actually not black coffee. It's their dirty matcha, and it has to be unsweetened. And it just, I don't know, it wakes me up. And I do love the mix of matcha and coffee. It's an interesting flavor. But yeah, that's straying too far from the topic of black coffee. And those are my two in favorite in A2. As for major coffee brands like Zeus, Starbucks, and actually it's just those two that I tend to frequent. I would say they serve pretty okay coffee, but for a student, I would prefer to go to A2 instead. But in terms of effectivity, I would really always, I think a lot of people also agree that Dunkin is the best out there for giving you the palpitations you need to survive law school. But don't overuse it, because at some point I drank this 22-ounce Dunkin coffee black, and bro, I was still sleepy, and that was because I had like 3 hours to sleep. And yeah, that's why every week I have this day where I don't drink coffee at all, so that it still hits you, you know. And also, like, so you don't experience caffeine withdrawals that much, because my god, like, they suck. Like the headache, the shaking, and the brain fog that you get when you don't have coffee, that day is crazy. So yeah, I'm using the summer to also meet out or taper off some of that caffeine addiction that I developed during my first year of law school. So that's pretty much it. That is my obsession this week. I could even have multiple obsessions. I'll let you know how much I'll upload on a weekly basis, or maybe multiple times a week. Probably not regular, considering the title of the podcast is, after all, this week's obsession. But could be this week's obsessions, if you're up for that. So thank you for listening, my listeners, wherever you are. And I hope you have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye.